Jasmine Crockett tries to humiliate Kash Patel. Jim Jordan and Patel fires back. Let's watch.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for the apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I mean, I'll respond. Kash Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing. With that, I recognize the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I think you're witnessing some auditions, clickbait auditions for the Academy Award for my Democratic colleagues. We'll see how they fare as they're on MSNBC later on today. But do you care, before I launch into my line of questioning, to respond to Ms. Crockett from Texas on that very elaborate and theatric display?
Here's what I've learned in my government service. I don't give a damn what they say about me as long as I'm succeeding in the mission. We're succeeding in the mission because the men and women of the FBI have never been empowered to do more work and to hit the streets harder than by President Trump's authorities and resources he's given us. And so all I care about is that we are capturing more child predators than ever before, taking more drugs off the streets than ever before, that we are capturing murderers at a significantly historic rate, and we're delivering this country the lowest murder rate in recorded history. That are facts that you cannot dispute. But you can come at me all you want. I don't care.
Thank you.
Before we get into this, make sure you subscribe if you enjoy straight-to-the-point political commentary without the media spin. What you just watched perfectly captures the difference between political theater and answering with results. Jasmine Crockett came into this hearing with a long list of accusations. She questioned Kash Patel's leadership, attacked the FBI's staffing, criticized cooperation with ICE, claimed experienced personnel were being pushed out, and argued that the Bureau wasn't doing enough to combat white supremacy. Her remarks were emotional, confrontational, and clearly designed to dominate the moment. But here's what stood out. For all the accusations, there was very little acknowledgement of what Patel argued the FBI has actually been doing under President Trump. Jim Jordan immediately stepped in to defend the FBI director's qualifications, reminding everyone that Kash Patel didn't simply appear out of nowhere. He pointed to Patel's career as a public defender, federal prosecutor, House Intelligence Committee investigator, National Security Council official, Department of Defense Chief of Staff, and now FBI Director. Jordan's message was simple. This isn't someone learning on the job. This is someone with years of experience across multiple parts of the national security and law enforcement system. That completely changed the tone of the hearing. Instead of allowing Crockett's accusations to become the final word, Jordan redirected the conversation toward Patel's record and performance. Then came Kash Patel's response. Instead of matching Crockett's emotion, Patel essentially shrugged off the personal attacks. He made it clear that criticism aimed at him personally doesn't affect how he approaches the job. His focus, he argued, is on the FBI's mission rather than political headlines or television appearances. Whether you agree with every policy or not, that's a response many Americans probably wanted to hear from the nation's top law enforcement official. Patel then shifted away from personalities and focused on outcomes. He argued that the FBI is arresting more child predators, removing more drugs from American communities, capturing more violent criminals, and helping drive murder rates lower. His point wasn't that people have to like him. His point was that results matter more than media narratives. That's also why his final line landed so strongly. You can come at me all you want. I don't care. That wasn't simply a comeback. It was Patel telling Congress that political criticism isn't going to change the priorities of the FBI under his leadership. Representative Russell Fry added another layer by suggesting that some Democrats were more interested in creating viral clips than conducting oversight. That was obviously a partisan jab, but it's also a criticism that's becoming increasingly common in modern congressional hearings. Too often, members of Congress appear to be speaking directly to social media instead of trying to gather information. Every hearing now seems to produce dozens of clips designed for TikTok, YouTube, X, Instagram, and cable news. Questions become speeches. Witnesses become political props. And committee rooms increasingly resemble campaign events. Supporters of Crockett would argue she was asking legitimate questions about staffing, domestic terrorism, civil rights, and federal priorities. They would say Congress has a responsibility to aggressively challenge executive branch officials and demand accountability. Supporters of Patel would counter that oversight only works when lawmakers are genuinely looking for answers instead of delivering prepared speeches designed to go viral. That's the larger issue on display here. Americans don't just want politicians scoring points against each other. They want safer communities. They want violent criminals arrested. They want children protected from predators. They want drug trafficking reduced. And they want federal agencies focused on public safety instead of politics. Patel's defense rests on exactly that argument. Judge the FBI by whether it's catching dangerous criminals, not by how many harsh soundbites are exchanged during committee hearings. Jim Jordan clearly believes that's exactly what's happening. Instead of allowing the hearing to become another one-sided political attack, he defended his witness, highlighted Patel's experience, and shifted the conversation back toward law enforcement performance. Whether that convinces everyone is another question, but politically, it was an effective response. At the end of the day, hearings like this reveal two very different visions of government. One side believes aggressive public confrontation is necessary to expose failures and force accountability. The other believes measurable law enforcement results speak louder than political rhetoric. That's why exchanges like this continue to attract millions of views online. They're about far more than one hearing or one witness. They're a window into the broader political divide shaping Washington today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did Jasmine Crockett raise valid concerns that deserved more answers, or did Jim Jordan and Kash Patel successfully expose what they saw as another political performance? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next political analysis.